Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to United Earth Angels Series Podcast, episode 55. And we love you. And who am I? I'm Tobi Staples, your host today for today's episode and every episode of this podcast. And I am a self-mastery mentor and an Earth Angel. And today our co-host is off doing a family thing. So grateful that she's off doing that. But we have our special guest with us today again to complete our 10 conversation series about implementing love in your business. And today's episode is about implementing loving leadership practices. But before we get into that, Jacques, can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Hello, everybody, and good morning or good afternoon. My name is Jacques Skutecki. I'm a business innovation strategist, and what I do is I empower business owners to look in areas where they need some improvement. So what we do is we empower them to success. And we always keep in mind that love is the name of the game. And also from these series with Tobi, I'm having a better understanding on how you can implement love in your business practices. Because loving your business is loving yourself, is loving your clients, is loving your customer, and it's loving to get some repeat business also.
Oh, yeah, big time. Oh, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Pardon me?
I said, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. So today the conversation is pretty it's about, we're talking about lead with being vulnerable as a business owner. How can you be vulnerable? Also, how can you have integrity with your staff and make sure that they feel that they are also bringing input into what you do in your business with your leadership? And then finally is how can you create harmony with all of that, right? And the number one rule, I guess, is love, and number two rule is having integrity, and integrity is respecting your word. So whatever you say to people in your team or your clients, just keep your word. I think that's the most important thing here.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really grateful for this 10 series episode that we've had together, Jacques. This has been a great time over the course of these episodes. And guys, anybody watching or in the audience watching on replay, I encourage you all to go and subscribe to our YouTube channels, and you will get all of the episodes that we have had here for the past 10 episodes with you all. Yes, we've had some really great content delivered with a lot of love-filled strategies for you all to step it up and level it up for yourselves and for your business. Because, it's really important. Jacques he touched on a couple of really great topics just now, talking about, if you can't love you and be in harmony with you, how do you bring that to anything you do? You can't. It all starts with you. And if you're trying to do something in this world that you really don't love to do, well, you're really wasting your time and energy in doing it, because whatever's killing your joy is killing you. And you got to be a joyful person and be creatively pleasured by life in order to be able to be creative and pleasured by the things that you create in it, because you can will anything into your existence. And one of our first our topics we're going to touch on right now is leading with vulnerability. And I think that's huge, because that's what I do. I let everybody know who I genuinely am. I don't wear a mask. This is who I am. I have nothing to hide, but I do want the best for people more than they want for themselves on the average. And I believe in people more than they believe in themselves. Yes, and hold that space for them. Why? Because I've loved myself back to life factually. So I know it's possible, whereas another person doesn't. But love is what brought me back to life. Love is what was the foundation of my business. Love is the foundation of my programs. Why? Because I had to be vulnerable to my own needs. What did I wish could have been established for me when I needed the help? Well, that's what I created for the world. Exactly what I felt that I needed along the way, once I've attained knowing better and doing better for myself. So, Jacques, what do you think about the leading with vulnerability?
It's funny because I guess you wake up one morning and you discover what your why is, right? And you can only discover what your why is if you love yourself, right? You say, okay, I'm good in these areas and I'm a little bit weaker in that area. So the area that you're really strong is the area you love, and that's your comfort zone. And I think that's the way you need to lead, with what you love and you're the best at. Now, when you're vulnerable, when you know that there's areas where you're not as good, not as powerful, so then you become vulnerable. And when you can share that with your team, right, then they also allow themselves to be vulnerable, which means that now you're very complementary. I mean, they're vulnerable in areas where I'm not, and I'm vulnerable in areas where they're not. Because when you build a team in a business, you always make sure you hire skills that you don't have, or skills in which you are weak at. So that's why you build a team, right? Everybody talks about delegating. Yeah, you can delegate. That's fine. But sometimes it is all about delegating because you don't have enough time to do it. But very often is that you want a skill set that's higher than yours in certain areas. And when you are living your why, that's what this is all about. When you live your why, you love what you do. And that's why I always say, I empower business owners. I don't help them. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. What they need is to understand the areas where they're weak, and then we can complement those areas where they are weak. So now we empower them. And while we empower them, they get better results.
Yeah, big time. And I love that, when a weakness arises, I find that to be an opportunity. And people find that as a default mechanism. They allow fear to override their logic. When they see a weakness within themselves, the majority of the time they get fearful of judgment and what are people going to think if they don't know these answers or whatever. And the fear system of the amygdala in the brain actually shuts off your logic and reasoning and emotional regulation when you allow fear to override your common sense, right? So when you have a weakness, anybody who has a weakness, and we all have had weaknesses and we all have weaknesses, it's an opportunity for expansion and growth. And you may think, how the hell is that possible? Well, actually, where you're weak is it's showing you where you need to strengthen. And if you need the support and the team to support you to do that, there are many people and that can help you do that. Like, over these past 10 episodes, you all have had great opportunities to harness all of the truth, love, and knowledge and wisdom that we've brought out to you freely with love, to harness this wisdom and to apply it in your life. It's not just about listening to it, because then it's like flowing over you like water over rocks. There's no wearing down of you got to let it soak in, you process it, but then you got to implement it. Implementation is key. And everybody thinks, oh, because I've learned the lingo, I know it. No, you don't know it until you've applied it in your life and seen the results of it. So you all have a very big opportunity because today is the grand finale with Jacques. You know, he's been blessed coming out and sharing wisdom, and he's a best-selling author, you know. Well, guys, did you reach out to him? Did you click his links? Did you go check out what he does out there? Because he can help you. He can help you with your strategies. He can help you tweak the things that you need. And obviously, he's quite the vibration if he can handle coming out here with me for 10 weeks. Come on, y'all. So if you need Jacques, you need to reach out to him, literally. And, you know, I have to say that because, guys, he's wise. He knows how to strategize. It's not just a gimmick here. And when people have skills and knowledge that are essential to you, you don't snooze. Because when you snooze, you lose. Jacques, what do you think?
Well, thank you for the praise here, but you know, I think that when I look at my competition, and it's like, you know, I was at the Small Business Expo show in New York 2 weeks ago. Matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, and I noticed that, you know, you got these, you know, we're a digital marketing agency. That's what we do. And I speak with these kids, right? They're 30, 35 years old. They're kids. And I don't even understand what they're talking about, right? Because they're just talking about benefits. And they really don't understand the customer journey, the sales cycle, right? They just think that when you buy something, when people buy from you, let's say they're going to buy your services, Tobi, is because inside of them, there's a connection. Inside of them, they feel comfortable. They feel that something's going to happen with them. They feel that they're going to be in a better area because they work with you. It's the same thing in the world of business, right? People don't buy necessarily because of price. They just buy what they call trust in what you do. They like you and they understand the outcome, right? Trust, like, and understanding. But in other words, that's a feeling, and feeling is love. Right? When you feel something, is because you love it. You're in your comfort zone. You feel you open up, right? And when you open up because you feel comfortable, now you can absorb the skills, the knowledge. So now you get empowered that way. And I'm noticing very often, and I'm not knocking the younger generation. That's not what I'm doing. I just think that it's a different way of thinking. It's not better. It's not worse. It's just different. But I do know one thing is when I have a conversation with business owners, I can rapidly sense where they're frustrated. I can rapidly sense what their problem is. And when I can bring the solution, I give it to them. When I can't bring the solution, I will tell them, honestly, I can't help you. I can't empower you. Now, if I can help you and I can empower you, and you as a business owner is not ready to give me the elements, right? The items that we need to empower you, then you know what? We just can't work together. I'll give you a refund because I need these elements. I need this information from you to make this happen, right? To empower your business. Now, if you can't give me that information because you're too busy or you don't have a virtual assistant or a secretary in the office, or you don't have 10 minutes or 50 minutes of your time to empower me in empowering you, we just can't work together. And that's okay. I have no problems with that. And I talk to a lot of people and they say, oh my God, like I work with that person and they have no ethics and they screwed me and this and that. When I speak to them, usually 50%, yes, they're con artists, but the other 50% are saying to me, you know what, I couldn't work with it. I did not get the materials that I needed to make it happen. So of course that client will be unsatisfied. So I'm just saying it's all about love too. We have to love the business owners and be patient sometimes, but there gets a point where we can't work. We got to move on. And I think I think that as a serial entrepreneur, it's something that I mastered very well over the years. because now I can understand, you know what? That entrepreneur is busy, is successful, is frustrated, but they are in their comfort zone. They're just lucky that they're successful, but they could be so much more successful, but they're in their comfort zone, right? And that frustration, that stress is part of who they are. They don't want to get out of that comfort zone of stress and complaining, and they're in that comfort zone. They love that feeling, but they could get rid of that by working with me, by working with Tobi, right? They can get rid of that frustration and bring their organization to the next level.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. I yeah, big time because but how many people are aware of their own patterns? That most people aren't aware of that, because the brain is going to do and keep that person in their comfort zone because that's the easiest thing to do until they override that. Once they've set their mind on us on a track, like a horse track, and that's the way it runs all the time, well, it's very hard to stop them or to take them off that track. You see? Unless they truly want to get off that cycle. But the only way to get off that cycle is to be able to identify it. And, their heart is speaking to them saying, okay, yes, I want change and I know that I need better. And yes, but then they talk themselves out of it by their own cyclical patterns that have been engraved in their brain. And then when people like us come along and I'm that spoke in the wheel, I stop that wheel like I can stop a freight train, literally, and go, hey, those patterns are destructive, but I'm going to have to put you in a cocoon phase and totally abolish what you believe to be right in order to lead you to the real truth. I let people know. And yeah, so many have said, oh, Tobi's a lot. Tobi's this, Tobi's that, Tobi whatever. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Tobi brings the results, as you can see on the Schumann resonance, backed by scientific proof. People, you want results? Huh. You know where to find them. Got a comment here. Oh, Ray says, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Ray. I'm happy you're out here. Love ya. I'm glad that you guys are out here watching our show today. Yes, and we're going to talk about practice servant leadership. So do you want to touch base on this? Because our time is running on us and we still have to talk about encouraging work-life harmony.
Well, we can combine those. I think that, well, not I think, I know that when you talk about servant leadership, it's a conversation you have with your team, with your clients, where you share your vulnerability, right? You're saying, listen, that's an area that I'm not that strong. That's why you're part of my team. And with the client, we can always say, that area is not my area of expertise. What I can do is A and B, but C is not my area of expertise. Now, with the team you work with, right, I do the same. I say, listen, I make mistakes, I forget, and you are allowed to make mistakes. Now, when you make a mistake, let's share what your mistake is, and it's not a big deal. Now, you're smart, you'll make the mistake 2 times. If you're dumb, you'll make the mistake 3 times, right? And what I encourage strongly is that between my team members, to have them have conversations about stuff. Because yes, I run the organization, but I don't necessarily want to babysit everybody. So if one of my team member has got a strong skill that the other team member doesn't have, I will have them share that one-on-one. And I like that, because now you're showing to your team that you are a team builder, right? Because you're allowing one skill to be transferred to another team member. And that's really what harmony is all about, is about being extremely flexible, extremely open-minded, and then again, vulnerable. And to end that, there's something about personal time, right? That we have to respect that people have their lives and they have stress in their life, whether it's, you wouldn't know anybody that got stressed because of their kids or their husband or their finances or the politics or the area they live, right? Or the job they have. So we have to understand that, people have outside factors that take over their life, that they allow their life to be taken over by, right, by situations. We have to respect that. But again, there we have to know when do we draw the line, like when enough is enough, like that's not controlling your life, and it's impacting what we can deliver with our clients, but also what you can deliver in my organization. So yes, we want harmony. Yes, we understand that people have issues in their lives, but it's also important to understand, as human beings, you're allowed to love yourself enough to do a good job. You need to be able to love yourself to be a great partner, be great with your kids, be great with your dogs and cats, and even goldfish, right? Because you have to feed your goldfish, correct? So that being said, it's just living in harmony and being a leader that is vulnerable and that could set the example that we're all human, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, that's for sure, for sure. And you know what? The work life harmony is so important. It's so important. It's so important. And we've been trained to believe that money doesn't grow on trees, and you got to work hard to get paid, and you just got to comply to whatever job pays you, whether you like it or not. And we've been also conditioned to follow family traditions and maybe even hold the family business because that's just what we needed to do, even if it was the exact opposite that our heart was telling us to do. Well, when you get to an age where you realize that it doesn't matter what you've acquired outside of you, you still feel empty and hollow inside. And you need that. What is that missing? It's the love for yourself, because you thought that you would get it by acquiring all of these things like money and a house and a title and credentials. And no, the real overflow is the love that fuels you daily. And you have to have that balance of paying you that love first and doing things that you love in your life. Because if not, it's killing you. And you're set into a pattern of robotics that's stealing your life force daily. Literally. Like if you can't get up excited for the adventure of your day, well, then literally your joy is being stolen from you with every breath. If you're not speaking power and life into yourself and your business and your people that you work with, well, then you are speaking destruction into it all. So, how aware are you of the things that you breathe into existence? Are you loving yourself and your experience and the people you're connected to? Genuinely, sincerely. What is your intent for these people? Do you intend for their cups to be overflowing just as yours should be? Or do you intend to get the money and run? What do you intend in this world for you and for others? You have to take a look at that. And you got to stay true to that. And you have to have that balance within you first. And you know what? Honestly, that's why I'm a one-woman army. It didn't take me a team to install the new earth. I just used others that were activated, and I literally pushed my frequency through to make sure, literally, hold on, I've got something popping up there. I literally triangulated my frequency through other anchors on the earth. Why? Believing in their vessels, believing in them, knowing what's possible for them. Do you think I could have gotten the love frequency of source installed on this planet had I not allowed love of its purest form to flow through me? Well, how do you think I've come back from everything that I have? Total organ failure, septic shock, heart attacks, living with angina, no immune system. How do you think I can maintain and still flow with an overflow? Loving myself and making sure that my cup is overflowing to all of those near me. It's a choice.
No, it's funny that like I meet people from the 35 years old, 40 years old, 30, 35, and they have family businesses, and I was at an event about a month ago, not 3 weeks ago, And there was this guy that was talking about his business. And then he said, like, I don't like to talk about this. It's my family's business, but I'm not really excited. Like, my dad had this business for so many years, and I don't know how to get excited, right? And then I go to another event, and he said, I don't know how to get excited. I go to another event, and I meet these kids that are 30, 35 years old. They're running the dad's business, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so blessed to to take over the legacy of my dad, and I'm going to do this. What he was missing is this, and blah blah blah. I still can use my dad because of his expertise in doing this, but this is an avenue where I really want to put my emphasis right now. And this is really great because we have a great reputation. I'm going to build that even. And you feel the excitement, right? In some of them that are running the family business, where others, it's like, they just get lazy. They've been spoiled. They don't have that spark. I think it's called spark, right? They don't have that in English, they say they don't have the piss and vinegar, right? They don't have that drive.
They don't have the fire in their soul behind it.
Exactly. They don't have the fire. And that's sad, right? Because they have an opportunity that just, it's like, can you imagine being born and you're the future king of England? Can you imagine how unlucky or lucky you are, right? That everything's given to you, like when you come into this earth. But some guys and girls that they have a family business, right? And that's what they got. They come into this world, and next thing you know, when they're teenagers, they can take over and be very wealthy for the next 20, 30, 40 years of their life. But I guess we have to appreciate what we have, and we have to, just thank the laws of energy. Just got to thank the world, the law of the universe, that we are where we are, and being able to have the judgment to fine tune, to change course, but also love yourself enough to make sure that you understand that you don't have all the skills, and you got to sometimes get empowered by people like you, Tobi, or by people like me to bring yourself or your business to the next level.
Yes, very much so. I agree. And we're going to wrap up this episode shortly. So, guys, I would love to, in this moment, I got to thank you, Jacques. This has really been a great 10-week of episodes that we came out here and we shared for everybody. And we've touched on a lot of great topics over the past couple of weeks. So I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful for your wisdom shared. I'm grateful for the love shared. I'm grateful for this collaboration of these 10 episodes, and I want to publicly invite you anytime you want to come back and join us here on the United Earth Angels series podcast, that you are more than welcome to do so, because it has been an honor to host you here for these 10 episodes, really.
Well, thank you. I was, because of this invitation that you sent me about these 10 series, I also got a better understanding of the connection between love and business, right? Because we get so busy, we forget that connection, right? So that's something that I forgot. But now that we're talking about it every week for 30 minutes, like that's like 5 hours, right? So now I really get a better understanding of that too. So I hope that some of the stuff that I was able to bring to the table also empowered you in different ways. But this has been a very, very positive experience, I have to say.
Yes, always. If you weren't empowering, buddy, I wouldn't have even bothered having you up here. Come on. I enjoy everything you do. I love your energy. I love what you bring to the table. And I wouldn't have had it any other way. Come on. My invitations are heartful all the time, and they're meant. And I'm very grateful that you shared this time with us here. So, guys, everybody that's watching, look, if you want to catch all of these episodes, go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And, I forgot to put the links in the comments, but no, for Jacques, they're there. Go and click on his stuff. Go check him out, connect with him on Facebook, go find him and connect with him. Anybody on my side, guys, I am co-hosting the Boot in the Ass Summit with Michael Whitehouse on August 21st. If you would love to apply to be a speaker, reach out to me because I forgot to put the link in the comments. If you would like to just attend, please do. But anybody who would love to speak at that summit, it is the Boot in the Ass Summit again, round 2. Please come out and do so. Pathways to Paydays, June 5th to 7th. I'm speaking June 5th. That's an Orleans Moore Summit with Michael Whitehouse. Very proud to be speaking at that summit. Guys, register. Besides that, I encourage everybody to step into their flow and feel love over worry. There is an extreme energy shift change on this planet. And I empower you all and encourage you all to step into the love that fuels you and stay true to that. If something doesn't make you feel good, it's not good. So direct your love properly so that you can feel it in your life coming back at you. All right? And again, Jacques, thanks.
Thank you, Tobi, for the invitation. It was great. It was a great experience.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you next week on the United Earth Angels series podcast. We love you. Thanks for being with us.
Bye-bye. Thank you.